Oh, forever young.
I mean, you will be the best one. I have to be better than that. I have to look.
What is that? What you came for? Drink that potion, and you'll never grow even 1 day older. Don't drink it, and continue to watch yourself rot.
What is this shit?
Dragnet.
I think there's only one source for this stuff. The adrenaline gland from a living human body.
White rabbit.
Music! You better pray to God there's some authorities in that bag. Otherwise, you're in bad fucking trouble.
Music, man. Put that tape on!
What tape?
Cameras on our plane. White rabbit, white rabbit, white rabbit, white rabbit.
Throw this thing into the tub when White Rabbit peaks, White Rabbit peaks, White Rabbit peaks, White Rabbit peaks.
I just got back from hell. Warlord pedophiles drinking the blood of children right in front of my face. You don't think I'm not on to this lizard?
Hey, you want to get as high as giraffe's pussy? Before this son of a bitch dies, cut those adrenal glands. The organs that produce adrenaline, you know? Right above the kidneys. Cut those fuckers out.
It's all right, man. It's still pulsing.
I'll take the vein and a couple droppers from the girls.
What the hell is the serum anyhow?
I don't think you want to know.
Oh, yes, I do. I paid for it, and you're pumping me full of it. I have every right to want to know what the hell it is.
All right, I'll tell you. I've discovered an area in the medulla of the brain that controls the aging process through a specialized DNA matrix. Now, by altering the molecular structure of this matrix, I can, in effect, reverse the aging process by regenerating healthy new tissue to replace aging, dying cells.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Wizard. You've discovered the fountain of youth. But you haven't answered my question.
In order to maintain the healthy regeneration of new tissue, keep you looking young, a constant infusion of this matrix is necessary.
Provided by the serum?
Correct.
So, let's stock up. Buy it by the caseload. Get a wholesale discount. Who cares?
I wish it were that simple, Ruth. Unfortunately, it is not. You see, the serum is distilled from the raw gray matter of the human brain. And since most people who have brains prefer to keep them, however little they use them, that leaves us with a limited supply. Now, I'm working on a way to synthesize the serum, but so far I've met with little success. Could be months, even years.
Do you have enough serum to perform the operation, Doctor?
Yes. But I don't know how long I can maintain you afterwards. If the supply of serum is interrupted, the process seems to reverse itself.
You mean I'll get old again?
I don't know. That's a variable I don't know enough about. And Ruth, I must ask you again to reconsider. This is a risk I'd rather not take.
May I remind you, Doctor, that I am the one who is taking the risk? Besides, whatever happens, I can't wind up any worse off than I am now. I'll have Wilhelm make the preparations, and I check into the clinic tomorrow.
Well, 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 if it isn't the good Dr. Epshteyn. Hunter, where the hell have you been? I've been waiting over an hour. Fishing, 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 fishing.
Come on, go.
Let's go eat some fried fish, fried fish. Come on, road and go. Let's go eat some fried fish, fried fish. 'Cause there's no more pasta, oh no. So we're gonna eat some fried fish, yeah.
Fishing? So what brings you down out of your ivory tower to the gutter where we little people dwell? Hmm? Your attempted cynicism eludes me, Hunter.
Well, what do you want from a 10th grade education?
I want 12 more bodies by Friday.
Well, now, if you was talking eggs, that's one thing, but where'd you expect me to find a dozen stiffs by Friday?
Let's go eat some fried fish, 'cause there's no more pasta, oh no. So we're gonna eat some fried fish, yeah.
There's 1,000 pieces in here. Each one could possibly be infected. That's why I'm going to take this very simple precaution, and I suggest you do as well. I'm going to take all the puzzle pieces, and I'm going to boil them. Boil each piece. And what you want to do is really stir it around.
Okay, here's what happened. As you can see, I've turned over a lot. This took me, well, since I talked to you last, hours. Look how much I have left. So what I realize is this 4,000 pieces is ridiculous. I don't have a table big enough. Who does? I mean, whoever gave us this puzzle, and I'm going to find out who, 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 I'm going to find out who. This is ridiculous. It's not like I can't do it, because look, I did one piece right there. Look, right there, got that one done. So it's like, I can do it. It's just that I don't have a, so, you know, I'm not going to do it because I'm not stupid. I mean, I'm not stupid. It's Ellen, not stupid DeGeneres is what my name is. Hello?
Hi guys, Bandit and I are checking in with you to see how you're doing and to thank you for staying inside.
Okay, Hey everybody. I decided to do what everybody's doing, which is walk outside instead of just being inside. I, like everybody, am feeling stir crazy and anxious and wondering what's gonna happen and how long this is gonna last. So I just wanted to say, stay safe, pay attention to what they're telling us to do, and this will pass much faster if we all listen to what our smart people are telling us to do. And I mean the smart people. Goodbye. Exercise. Take care of yourself during this time.
I finished my painting. I'm so psyched. It actually looks like something, which I find completely remarkable. So, yeah, you can do something you didn't know you could do while you're at home, not knowing what to do. I made a painting. That was my small step at learning something. I hope you're doing something that you're having a good time at, and I hope you're safe and okay.
We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. And when they are sold, they come without birth certificates, which means it's easier to kill them and have no one ask where they are. We're also importing children by the plane load. Again, children who have no documentation. It's not just child slavery or child sex abuse. It's also child torture, because you have adrenalized blood. You have the whole blood drinking ceremony of the Satanic world. It's also the use of children for harvesting body organs. We'll have the Falun Gong testimony tomorrow. One of the reasons that the Falun Gong are so popular is because they're so healthy, so that you can harvest their body organs and get the very best. And then you have ritual ceremonies and ritual murder, as well as incidental murder. Totality of the children disappearing worldwide is toward 8 million people. Toward 8 million children. In the United States of America, the acknowledged number, not counting the children being bred without birth certificates, not counting the children being imported without documentation, is between 600 and 800,000 a year. Now imagine Africa and East Asia and all these other locations. I personally believe that the number we want to try to document is rising well beyond the official figures, and we have yet to learn what the actual number is. These children are so abused. I mean, we're talking rapes by the hour and so forth, that they reach their expiration date within 2 years. And then they're murdered with impunity, or they're ritually murdered if that's what they've been bred for. The center of gravity for taking down the deep state, pedophilia is both the induction glue. Pedophilia is how the deep state recruits and controls people. It is also the Achilles heel of the deep state. I believe that once the public realizes that the government is not protecting their children at a scale of vulnerability that we can articulate, then everything else about the government is called into question. All right? So for me, this is a truly righteous endeavor. And I will end by saying that as much good as it might do to get the British angry, for me, the center of gravity for change is the American public. Because if you can get the American public angry, we will stop supporting dictators overseas. We will close all of our military bases overseas. I am on record as a former CIA operations officer saying that our 1,000 bases overseas are not there for national defense. They're there to serve as lily pads for the smuggling of guns, gold, cash, drugs, and small children.
I'll tell you a story about a little boy that affected my life, and I guess it's besides John and Ben, who I always think about and who I want to stop this from ever happening to another child again. I heard a story about a little 8-year-old boy. His mom had taken him to protect him, and they were found. And I had been underground for 3 years, by the way. The mother and this little boy were found. The little boy was taken to a basement. He was crucified alive. First he was skinned. When they torture the children, it causes a physical reaction of the endomorphins in your body to just increase because of the terror and the pain. So when the Satanists drink the blood, they actually get like a chemical, a high, like a drug high from the blood of a tortured victim. And this little boy was found in the basement dead, with no blood, skinned alive and crucified. This cannot happen to any more children. I can't do it alone. My children are there. It's really hard. I need each one of you to know this is not a fairy tale. This is not something out of science fiction.
The blood has something. It has something in it. It has secretions from the pituitary gland and from the pineal gland, and it has a very strong drug in it that they also, I mean, this is the one that keeps them from going crazy. and it's like heroin or like endorphins, and it's much stronger. But what they need is, for it to be secreted in the blood, is they need terrorization of their victims before they are killed for their blood.
My administration is 100% committed to eradicating human trafficking from the earth. Human trafficking is a problem everywhere, worldwide problem. Human trafficking is worse than ever before. An estimated 25 million people around the world today are being held captive, manipulated, and abused by human traffickers. In 2018 alone, the National Human Trafficking Hotline identified over 23,000 human trafficking victims in the United States. 65% of these victims were women. More than 1 in 5 were children. Human traffickers prey on their most vulnerable citizens and people. They're vicious, they're violent. My administration is fighting these monsters, persecuting and prosecuting them, and locking them away for a very, very long time. We've had a tremendous track record, the best track record in a long time. We are dismantling the criminal organizations that make large-scale human trafficking possible. In my first month in office, I instructed federal agencies to go out and just do what you have to do. All federal departments are doing what they do to identify and destroy these groups, and we are destroying a lot of them. In 2018, the Department of Justice shut down the leading site for online sex trafficking. The DOJ prosecuted a number of violent crimes that now is a record number. In the last 3 years, ICE has arrested over 5,000 human traffickers, and I want to thank ICE. They have been incredible. These are great, great people. Great people. My administration is putting unprecedented pressure on traffickers at home and abroad, and we are freeing innocent victims at every single turn. I was proud to be the first commander-in-chief to attend a meeting of the President's Interagency Task Force established by the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000. In November, I was also the first president to sign an executive order to establish a task force on missing and murdered American Indians and Alaska Natives. Just signed it. I've signed 9 pieces of bipartisan legislation aimed specifically at combating human trafficking domestically and around the globe. And in 2018, I signed legislation strengthening the Department of Homeland Security's Blue Campaign, which unified the department's fight against this crisis and increasing public awareness every single day. We have signed more legislation on human trafficking by far than any other administration has even thought about. We enacted bills, thank you. And we'll do what's necessary. We will do exactly what's necessary. There's nothing more horrible than this. We enacted bills to fight sex trafficking, increase support for survivors, and raise the standards by which we judge whether other countries are meeting their duty to fight human trafficking. You have countries that talk, and they talk. They're like politicians in Washington. They keep talking. They do nothing about it. They do nothing about it. And we spend a lot of money on these other countries, and we're not sending it, and we let them know they're not going to be doing their job. They don't, in some cases, probably want to do their job, and that's a pretty bad thing. We've authorized $430 million to fight sex and labor trafficking, and with the help of the State Department, I have held foreign governments accountable for failing to address human trafficking by imposing restrictions on foreign assistance, and very powerful restrictions. You can read what you want, you can say what you want, but nobody has done more than what we've been doing on human trafficking.
Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich. Too much, feel too little.
Here we are, children. Come and get your lollipops. Lollipops. And all free today.
Hey, wait!
It's all inside. Come along, my little dears.
Yes,
Go inside, not a penny free. Go inside, my little dears.
Children, Your Highness. Foreign children. Unique specimens.
These are our children, huh? For 12 years we have hidden them here. Look at them, huh? They don't know what a tree looks like or what it is to run or to laugh in the sunshine, do you, eh?
How it must have been to grow up with the sky, to feel the sun, the wind, the trees.
They don't know what a tree looks like or what it is to run or to laugh in the sunshine. Do you, eh?
I believe they figured out how to make a copy of the body, but not the soul. The soul remains one, shared by two.
I'm collecting stupid little boys. Stupid little boys? You know, the disobedient ones what play hooky from school. Oh. And I takes them to Pleasure Island. They never come back as boys. Scout around. And any good prospects you find, bring him to me. Yes, Chief. I'll pay you well. I got plenty of gold.
Right here, boys, right here. Get your cake, pie, dill pickles, and ice cream. Eat all you can. Be a glutton. See the model home? It's open for destruction. And it's all yours, boys. It's all yours.
This is a life. Huh, Pinocchio?
Yeah. It sure is.
Come on, let's have another. And what's your name? Okay, you'll do. In you go. You. And what might your name be?
Alexander.
So you can talk.
Yes, sir. I want to go home to my mama.
Take him back. He can still talk.
Video games? Phone? Dialysis?
What's for dinner?
Looks like Chrissy's really enjoying my Gravlax. Well, I just thought you guys might like a break from macaroni and cheese with hot dogs.
People you try to be friends with, even though you don't have a whole lot in common.
But why?
Because.
Touch me.
Help me out. No, let's get these passports out of here.
having a blood drive?
Needles, yeah.
It tastes like milk. Just like the sign said on the building before you obliterated it. Fresh, wholesome milk.
Good afternoon.
Like your rabbit.
Those are hares. Silly old rabbits. Lovely match hairs.
Mégatron.
Hello, I'm Tom Hanks. The U.S. government has lost its credibility, so it's borrowing some of mine.
what policies should we have? Because until we get almost everybody vaccinated globally, we still won't be fully back to normal. We want to go, in manufacture and do construction and go to school, but there will be things like big public events where the risk will outweigh the risk of a disease rebound. If you want to reopen a factory, do enough workers show up that you can really engage in that activity. Some things like restaurants will probably have more spacing and the demand will be reduced because what we've all gone through here. But we need to start getting things back to normal. They won't be back to normal until we either have that phenomenal vaccine or a therapeutic that's like over 95% effective. And so we have to assume that's going to be almost 18 months from now. People who are in restaurants or factories or construction or cleaning, they're looking at their livelihood going away. And so sadly, like many bad things, those who are in the toughest circumstances are going to bear most of the pain. And so we want to get into this semi-normal phase as soon as we can. And then the vaccine is the thing that will change things. And that's why, really figuring out how do we make sure it's safe, because that when you give it to 7 billion healthy people, that's super important. And, although the best case is actually shorter than 18 months, we don't want to create a lot of expectations because we really aren't quite sure. So people like Fauci and myself are giving that as kind of the likely date. It could be better, it could be worse. Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person. A thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero, and that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
We are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
Today I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. American taxpayers provide between $400 million and $500 million per year to the WHO, in contrast, China contributes roughly $40 million a year, and even less. As the organization's leading sponsor, the United States has a duty to insist on full accountability. With the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have deep concerns whether America's generosity has been put to the best use possible. The reality is that the WHO failed to adequately obtain, vet, and share information in a timely and transparent fashion. Had the WHO done its job to get medical experts into China to objectively assess the situation on the ground and to call out China's lack of transparency, the outbreak could have been contained at its source with very little death, and certainly very little death by comparison. This would have saved thousands of lives and avoided worldwide economic damage. Instead, the WHO willingly took China's assurances to face value, and they took it just at face value, and defended the actions of the Chinese government, even praising China. The world depends on the WHO to work with countries to ensure that accurate information about international health threats is shared in a timely manner. And if it's not, to independently tell the world the truth about what is happening. The WHO failed in this basic duty. The delays the WHO experienced in declaring a public health emergency cost valuable time, tremendous amounts of time. More time was lost in the delay it took to get a team of international experts in to examine the outbreak, which we wanted to do, which they should have done. The inability of the WHO to obtain virus samples to this date has deprived the scientific community of essential data